right. Hi, JP. Yeah, I'm very glad that you're able to talk to us today because my students are very keen and to hear what it is you've got to say about QCP because they'll be doing it for their project in my class, which is MMK 365 Marketing Insights at Deakin University.
The journey starts back in, I used to work for a global bank. And in terms of my career, by that point, I was in what you would call as, business improvement, business re-engineering. And I was actually trained in a specific methodology called Lean Six Sigma, which came out of manufacturing, which approaches improvement in a very systematic way. At that time, in the bank, we still had private equity businesses. Many banks have spun those off. And I recall I was sitting down with one of the MDs of one of his businesses. And I asked him, I said, well, I do business improvement. I manage the programs across different parts of the bank, from retail banking to commercial banking to investment banking. So, well, can you tell me, you guys are professionals in taking companies and improving them and selling them. That's in essence what private equity, the buyout aspect of it is, right? So how do you approach that? And as I understood how they were approaching it, I just felt that there was a more systematic way of approaching, was I had to come from that kind of world. And that's really, I suppose, that was the origin of the current company. And yeah, so that's basically where it started off, and I wanted to create a systematic way of taking a company, increasing the value, and being able to monetize that. I do really believe there's a cause behind what we're doing, and I think your students should know about this. That there's a whole movement, for example, in the investment field that's called ESG. Environment, social, and governance, and we know some people in the city and financial sector, and there's a huge movement towards investors being more conscious of not just return but also other factors. And for us, a key element of what we're doing is not only are we working closely with investors that have such a criteria, and the great thing is that they look at small companies as meeting those ESG criteria, because small companies are the main engine of growth and employment in economies, and governments recognize this and support it, and they have a huge impact on communities. So I think that's one of the things that and sometimes I have to say also, we did consider even, and we researched and we spoke to, not being a social enterprise, but there's a model, for example, that's called a cooperative, right? Which ironically, we researched, if we think about farmers and so on, how they started cooperatives, right? It was fundamentally to share equipment and sort of tractors and things like that, and some of our shared kind of products are linked to that. And as a result of that kind of research that we did, we actually even considered converting our organization into a modern version of those cooperatives in the UK. They're quite common because of these reasons, where we see that, well, fundamentally, the different stakeholders have to come together for the benefit of not only making a return, but for it to be a good return and a good social return on that. So I think that's one of the other things I would mention, and there's a huge area, and that's one of the main reasons I'm personally also involved in it, and some of our advisory board and so on, it's not yet announced, but we've just created an advisory board. Some of the reasons they're involved in is for these kind of reasons also.